Hello, and welcome to our virtual broadcast of challenges in implementing the AtHoc Mass Communications system at LLNL, presented by Jamie Harrison. Jamie is the Emergency Management's Program and Drill and Exercise Program Manager at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories, where she's worked since 2014. She has 13 years in experience in emergency management, where she has served in many capacities at DOE sites. And in her spare time, she also serves as a vice chair for our SimTech subcommittee, which we really appreciate. If you have a question for Jamie during her session, just type it into the chat box at the right of the screen, and I'll relay it to Jamie at the end of her session. And with that, please join me in welcoming Jamie to our virtual stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jamie Harrison, and welcome to Lawrence Livermore National Laboratories' presentation on challenges in implementing the AtHoc Mass Communication system at LLNL. I'd like to give you a little background on the AtHoc system before we get into the challenges that we've faced. AtHoc is an automated system used to quickly and uniformly communicate to large groups of people. It was founded in 1999, and they are based out of San Mateo, California, which is not too far from Lawrence Livermore Lab. BlackBerry acquired them in 2015, and they're actually utilized by over 80% of the United States government. They are the mass communication system for the Department of Energy, Department of Treasury, Justice, Department of State, Department of Defense, Transportation, etc. They do have two major hubs for their cloud storage. One of them is in Dallas, Texas. The other one is in Ashburn, Virginia, which is there for redundancy in case something happens to one of the hubs. So LLNL started using AtHoc in 2015 when our old provider, which was Communicator NXT, died, and we wanted to upgrade with a system that had a little bit more to offer and met our needs a little bit more. We started small with just over 100 users, mostly offsite partners, and then us in emergency management. Now, when I say users, I mean the people that receive the alert that's being sent, kind of the recipient of the alert. So after successfully using AtHoc on a small scale, we decided to expand its use to all employees that have a physical presence on site, both at Site 200 and Site 300. Which ended up being just a little over 6,000 people. I think now we're up to a little over 8,000 people. We do automatic refreshes to the AtHoc system, which ensures that all new hires are added and those that leave the lab or retire are removed in a timely manner. So this next slide is just a visual of what AtHoc looks like for those with publishing rights. The site is aesthetically pleasing, and it's a pretty intuitive site to work with. So expanding a little bit more on our implementation of AtHoc, we initially started using it to send the emergency notification form to our offsite partners, including headquarters, after an OE is declared, as well as to recall the ERO to their emergency positions, whether that be in the EOC or out in the field. So here's a visual of the alert used to recall the ERO. It's a generic template in AtHoc with the alert users, which are the recipients already attached to the alert. The duty officer that declares the operational emergency would open up AtHoc and customize the alert template to fit the incident, to include the safe route information, so folks on their way to the EOC know which areas to avoid on site. This alert also has a set response option, so we can view the report afterwards and see who said they would be in their emergency position within 15 minutes, or there within 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or that they cannot respond to their emergency position. This next slide shows a screenshot of the alert used to notify our offsite partners, which would be the city, county, state, DOE headquarters, etc. It once again has a generic template of our emergency notification form. The duty officer that declares the OE would open up AtHoc and customize the form to fit the incident specifics, and then hit publish. The system would then call, text, email, fax, and page the numbers in the system for our offsite partners. In 2015, the lab decided to expand the use of AdHoc to be able to communicate urgent messages to the lab population in a timely manner. These alerts would include things like road closures that affect employees' routes home, gate closures, as well as poor air quality resulting in a stop to outside work, or even the lab sending people home. We're actually dealing with poor air quality right now with multiple very, very large fires all over California, blanketing many areas with heavy smoke. We have recently added the ability for employees to self-sign up their personal contact information as well. We also started using AdHoc as a secondary means of issuing protective actions. Our protective action system, our PA system, which is called the emergency voice alarm, can only be heard in about 30% of outdoor lab locations. So those folks walking between buildings and whatnot very likely will not hear any protective action orders. So we would use AdHoc to call or text everyone with those protective actions as well. So getting to the issues we've encountered from the administrative perspective, we have LivIT managing the data now, which is the lab's IT department. We in emergency management give heavy input/oversight, and they run the system for us. One of the biggest issues has been the databases we pull from that populate the entire lab population into the AdHoc system. Our lab has many, many databases from human resources, security, etc., and getting them all to mesh together and provide us with a true database has proven pretty difficult. We've actually created a manual to help with the data management and ensure only folks that have a physical presence at the lab are included in alert callouts. Our main concern being that we don't want to tell folks on assignment in another country or on the other side of the country that our east gate is closed this afternoon, things like that. We want to make sure that we're relevant to the people that it's reaching. As far as the data refreshes, we normally have it set to automatically refresh every couple of weeks, I believe. I think we're doing it more often right now because of the COVID situation. With each refresh, we perform a qual check and end up with a handful of errors that need to be investigated and manually corrected, which is time consuming. One of the biggest issues is that there are a couple of fields in the HR database that are write-in fields rather than drop-down. So we have to figure every possible way that the data entry person could have put that data in to make sure we capture it all. Another complication is the need to protect certain fields from being written over at each refresh, such as the folks that are on the ERO and their special positions listing within the system. We don't want that to be erased every time there's a refresh. As far as issues we've encountered from the publisher and user perspective, when a publisher, such as our duty officer, opens an alert to start customizing it, if they take too long, the system will time out and not tell you that it's timed out. Once you have everything the way you want it, you click publish and it tells you you've timed out and it clears the form, which is problematic when you only have 15 minutes to make offsite notifications. Another issue is pretty common in text-to-speech situations, but the AdHoc system speaks exactly as you have it written. So building 490 could be read as B 490. So you got to watch that. Another issue is the employee opt-in for personal information is not as streamlined as we would like it. It requires the employees to fill in a field that goes to our IT department, and then they manually update it. If someone changes personal phone numbers, etc., that could be a problem in keeping with accuracy. And I believe this is the last slide. As with most things, the AdHoc system requires a username and password to access the system in order to publish an alert. It does not require one to receive alert. But if you're going to publish an alert, it requires a username and password, and that password must be changed every 6 months, which makes it difficult for those with lots of passwords to remember. This is also a concern for the duty officer who is on a time crunch to get the offsite notification made. If they forget their password, then that time requirement is not going to be met for making the offsite notifications. And that's it. I believe we are on to the Q&A portion.
Jamie, thank you so much for that great presentation. And just like we were talking about, you are so good at explaining things. I've been monitoring the chat. I don't see any questions that have come in yet, but I'll wait just a minute in case someone is thinking of one.
Well, I'm here in case anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Jamie. Well, with that, we've reached the end of this session. But if you think of a question later for Jamie, you can find her contact information in the speaker tab and also go to the survey at the end. Just at the scroll down to the bottom of this session, and you'll see that little survey and fill that out. Give Jamie some feedback so she knows how she's done. And if it'll also give you credit for attending this session. And so we hope you'll fill that out. Um, Again, Jamie, thank you so much for your time
Mhm.
in preparing this presentation.
Of
And
course.
our next session is going to be exercise planning. Start with the end in mind with Carissa Schultz. You want to be sure and attend that one. And if there's other sessions that you want to attend, you can always choose it from the channels on the side of your screen from the scheduler. Once again, Jamie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You all have a great day.